as we continue on with our Easter lectionary. And the Easter lectionary sure is a lot of fun. It's something we can use to kind of get us in the right spirit of Easter. And the spirit of Easter is one of descent, and that's so significant, right, in our spiritual lives. That so much of our lives is about this onward, upward, live your best life now, all that stuff. That's not the Easter story at all, actually. It's very much the opposite of that. It's about a descent. It's about finding God in that descent and understanding that the three movements of death, waiting, and resurrection. And those are true at a literal level. Those are true at a figurative level. And then probably any of us right now could place ourselves on that continuum of death, waiting, resurrection. And today it was an interesting one because the lectionary is fascinating. The lectionary is it's a set of readings that a lot of churches do, and different churches have different lectionary series. We're using one, a Catholic one. And with this lectionary, it's interesting watching how it goes back and forth, sort of ashes to ashes, this reminder, like we are in the end dirt, which in a certain sense we are, and then reminding us, and we're blessed dirt. It's kind of like this back and forth, both this humbling and exalting. In the fancy church words, exinanition and emptying out, and then there's, as God goes through, there's this glorification process too. We don't go through that same thing in that same way, obviously. That's a Jesus thing, but we do go through times where we get emptied out, and times where we get filled up, and that's what it's talking about at a very human level. So today we're looking at this interesting one, and it's fascinating as a pastor to watch and hear people, and I'm sure many of us experience, all of us experience this, like a lot of anger out there these days, a lot of anger, and how is it that we do a couple of things, How is it that we find that place where it is appropriate to express anger, and where we're supposed to be passionate about things, we're supposed to speak really directly to things, and that's super important. And at the same time, how do we manage to do that so it doesn't have that to it? And that's a trek, and I'm no good at it, just total full disclosure, but I think it's a significant endeavor that we try to do. And today's reading talks a little bit about the way God kind of approaches things, sort of an abundance measurement, the idea of a generous measure. What is it like to have a generous measure in our lives? And it's something I feel like we could probably all need a little bit more of. How do we bring to life a generous measure? A generous measure. So that's what we're going to read. I'm going to read a little piece here from the lectionary, and then a little piece of New Church theology as well around this that I found really beautiful this morning. All right. So this is, sorry about it. Let's go to the wrong page. This is from Luke chapter 6, verse 38. Full measure. So here it's talking about a measurement, and you could think, I should have brought a cup measure. If you think about a cup measure or some kind of measure of something as it might have in a market. Full measure. In other words, they filled it to the brim, pressed down. So it's not just like, here's a loose measure. Whatever they've put in it, God is pressed down, shaken together, no room in between. So it's just packed, running over. In other words, it's not just to the rim, but it's just overflowing. This cup measure will be poured into your lap. And it's not just, again, it's like it's a measure that's so great. You're holding this measure. It's literally overflowing with abundance. Poured into your lap, because the measure you measure out will be measured back to you. So it's interesting, the thought there. Boy, is it beautiful, folks. The idea that God is giving us this measure. It's just overflowing. It's just abundance. That's how God kind of measures us up. This is what God is giving us. And he's saying, look, and remember this as well, like the measure you use, it always keeps on going in a beautiful cycle. It sort of has this connotation, this is coming to us. Then it has this connotation of this is going out to others. And then it's this final connotation, and it will come back to us that way. So we are given an abundant measure. We are to offer an abundant measure, and then we will receive again an abundant measure. That's beautiful theology. Oh my goodness, is that so gracious? And that is not necessarily easy, but I think, I imagine when you're hearing that, you're like, yeah, that's true. That really is the way to live. It's interesting to read too. This little piece of New Church theology. This is from the book True Christianity, and this is from Emmanuel Swedenborg. He says, in a word, listen to this, folks. In a word, all things are full of God. We each take our own portion from that fullness. So, in other words, the whole world is just full with this abundant measure, this very generous measure. And how do we go about like offering that and accepting that and offering that and accepting that and offering that and accepting that? I think that's what we're being called to do here. And I don't want to belabor the point, but I do. Like, I know that's not easy. It's not easy, especially in times like this where the anger can frankly be overwhelming. And at times the anger is depending on whatever issue might be, the anger sometimes is legitimate. I mean, we call that in the new church, we call that zeal. And how do we keep on coming back to, yep, I just have to remember this abundance, and I have to remember to offer it as abundantly as I can. So we go through those steps again. We receive that abundance, we offer that abundance, and then we receive it yet again. So however that looks for you today, however it looks to just have that memory that, life is filled with the fullness of God. Let's all just try to live that just a little bit today, this Easter season. And as we start the week, that sure seems a pretty good way to start the week, to start the week, remembering our job is to offer to others a generous measure. So that's my thought for the day, dear friends. So what we're going to do now is we're going to ring a bell, do a little meditation. You will see me skedaddle because I left my phone over there. So we're going to do a little meditation here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ring the bell, and just if you just listen for the bell until it stops ringing, then we'll do a little meditation, then a little blessing, and then a little prayer. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends. So let's take a look at any commentary. And again, you're welcome to leave comments, and we try to get to the ones on the different formats. And just a chance for a little bit of a conversation here on a Monday morning. All right, Patricia, great to see you joining us this morning. Wishing you all the very best in the week ahead. Linda, good morning to you. And that Friday dinner with you and your pals sure was a ton of fun. Very much enjoyed that. Kim, good morning to you, and I hope you're doing well and had a great weekend. I'm looking forward to a great week ahead. Sherry, good morning to you from Tennessee, and wishing you all the very best. Uh, Jerry writes, good morning. Learning to put a release valve within yourself to evaluate what your thoughts are and what is to be kept unto yourself and what is you share with others is well worth implementing. Yeah, it's like those people who talk about like, well, you just need to say it. Well, you don't always need to say it. Let's be clear about that. I more than once I've gotten into trouble, but those things that I thought I absolutely needed to say and probably didn't. So that's a well made point. Paige, good morning to you, my dear friend. Hope you're doing well. Linda writes, receive an offer, flow what you give out comes back. And I really do believe that there is some, I know we use like the glib phrase, like, well, that's karma. But it is, it really is like the world, so much of the world isn't what we see, it's how we see. And with the how we see, when the how we see is oriented towards, all right, I've received really abundantly, and we all have. So how do I offer that graciously out there into the world? And then we offer it graciously out there in the world, big surprise, it comes back to us. So I think that is really, really, really spot on and well said there, Linda. Marcus, good morning to you. And as always, Marcus, boy, did a great job. And for any of you who want to see a wonderful service, Marcus got the music planned around it, did a great job. The team did a great job with yesterday. Take a look at yesterday's. It's a very poignant service for people who are struggling with around the issue of suicide, actually. And it was a very, very poignant, very tender, very, very sweet thing that the team did yesterday. Katie writes, I often think when I feel angry, I'm actually hurt to shift my thoughts. I would totally agree with that. It's interesting, like when people are angry, like it's when we're hurt people, right? And when we hurt people. When we hurt people, and that really does happen. And it's just something to be totally aware of, and that's why, again, like that shift, that repentance, really important. So well said there, Susan, and great to see you joining us this morning as well. So folks, I'm wishing you all the very best. God bless. Have a great day, and yeah, today just have it be a day of a generous measure. Take care. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.